What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Lodge Podcast.
Welcome back, episode 6.
Episode 6, the Sound Lodge.
Pretty crazy on episode 6.
Yeah, that's a good round number right there.
It's a good
If you divide that by 2, you get 3.
If you divide it by 3,
You get 2.
you get 2.
Yeah.
We're now going to be a math podcast.
Yeah, I do have a high school diploma,
Yeah.
for anyone wondering out there.
I can divide 6 by 2 and 3.
And 3. And if we want to get a little funky, I can divide it by 1. And that
True.
equals 6.
And 0 as well.
That's a little more advanced. Anyways, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the World's Greatest Math Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
How are you guys doing today? I wonder.
That is a good question. I wonder how y'all are doing. Drop in the comments. Let us know how you've been. If you're making any music, if you're in an inspired state right now, or maybe you're just in a little dip. We all go through ebbs and flows.
Mm-hmm. Ebb. What a funny word that is.
That is a funny word.
Somebody was like, whatever. Whatever. They were making up words, and the guy was like, ebb.
Does ebb have 2 B's or 1 B?
I think 2.
Ebb and flow.
Weird word.
Well, guys, as y'all know, this podcast is so much fun, and it's as good as it is because of y'all, because y'all drop the best questions ever.
Yeah.
So if you want to be in the next podcast and have your question answered, be sure to join the Discord or just drop it in the YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever floats your boat. But let's just hop right into it. And we got a great question from Ratty from the Discord. Ratty says, have y'all ever considered making music for sync licensing? So for like ads, movies, and video games. And you're a lot more vocal about this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in the same boat as you. But
Totally, yes. There was a long time where I was really getting into researching it, and then I found out about the whole like industry side of it behind it, where it's like you basically have to make a whole album of like similar vibe tracks and then submit it to these like distributors or whatever, and the distributors are very heavily gatekept. So if you're like, because that's like the big barrier is like, okay, well, cool, I want to submit my tracks to like people to use for movies and stuff, but how do I submit them? Where do I send them? And everybody's like, well, if you pay $400, I'll give you my list of all the distributors you can use. And it's like, okay, well, that just like turns people off from it.
yeah, totally. Yeah, like that email I got where they're like, we can get you in. And then I kept having communications with them. And then they said, here's our Cash App. You have to pay us $40. And I was like,
Cash App.
Cash App?
Yeah. Yeah, that's just absurd. But yeah, no, I definitely have considered it because I'm a really big fan of video game music, and I've kind of always dabbled with making video game music and stuff like that. And also, there's a while where I was making a lot of like cinematic kind of stuff in general. And a lot of my videos, I'll get comments where people are like, dude, this should be in a video game, or this should be in a movie, whatever. And I definitely think that'd be really cool. And I remember an interview where Vince Staples was talking about how he made bank because he made this whole album that he just made to be synced for movies and stuff, and he got like fat checks from like Call of Duty Black Ops and like Home Depot and like just random shit like that, and they didn't even use his stuff. Like they just paid him up front because they were gonna use it.
Interesting.
And then it actually never got even published. So he just made a bunch of money, and he also just like made an album that he wanted to make.
Yeah, that is cool.
Pretty nuts.
Yeah, there is a lot of money in sync licensing.
That's the thing. Like everybody's like, there's no money in the music industry unless you're doing sync licensing. Then
specifically,
that's where the money is.
Yeah, like you said though, it's so hard. I feel like it's so hard. I've never really sat down and tried to figure it out. I feel like you and I could be pretty good at it because we could be in a lot of like indie coming of age movies. You know?
See, the problem is the beats that get synced are the worst fucking beats.
That is true.
Ever.
Yeah,
it's like the Home Depot like doom 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 doom, which kind of goes. That beat goes hard. I won't lie, but there's a lot of songs that are like, you know, like the YouTube copyright free music. That's the stuff that's getting placed. You know?
Thinking of like bad TV shows and the music they put in those.
Yeah. So the majority of the people that are picking the sync licensing music just have no idea what they're doing. So they're like, oh yeah, this should be pretty good. And then they send it to like their editor, and he's like, bro, what? They're sending me these again? Like, why are we listening to these again? I've always thought of that too. Like, oh, well, like it would be sick to get synced with actual good songs. But then most likely it's just not going to happen. So
yeah, I feel like also the reason they choose such bad music is because it's like those people are probably saying this is $20.
Yeah, true. Like the Crunch Fitness beat, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I think of when I think of sync licensing. It's like the stuff that they put like the Burger King ads and like the Crunch Fitness ads. It's like, dude, This is one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my entire life.
That makes me feel like there really should be a union for independent artists, because there's just two dudes out there who are just like making AI music and they're getting all the placements. You know?
Genuinely. Like, I swear that guy that made the Crunch Fitness beat probably made it in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and he's making bank off of that. So maybe that's the strat, is to just sell your soul and not care about the music you make at all, and just ship it off to, like, you know, Home Depot and like G&E or whatever these massive companies are, and just make your bank.
I guess that's the strat. Yeah, no, to answer your question, well, you already did, but yes, totally. I think making music for a video game would be so cool. We have so many dreams, but one of the dreams is to make our own video game as well. And making music for that would be so cool. Just making an album full of...
Totally. I'd love to make like short films and movies and stuff too, and make all my own music for it. That'd be so cool.
Well, that's what made me fall in love with music when I was younger, was music in movies. You know, like I've already told you that, but just listening to music back in the day, I would always close my eyes and be like, what scene is this? You know? And I would always be the kid in the road trip just looking out the window. Yeah. It's like, I'm in a movie right now.
Yeah, you get the hand in the window. Yeah, no, same. I remember like I would play music in my like little headphones or whatever. I had this little MP3 player that was like a little like it looked like a Beats pill, but like super tiny. And it had like a USB. You'd pop off the one end and you would stick it into the computer and then download the music onto it, like firewire this shit onto it. And I would plug my little headphones in, and I would be sitting in the car and like playing like the Black Eyed Peas and like imagining myself like on stage like performing it.
I got a feeling dun, 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 dun. Tonight's gonna be.
Dude, that was my song back
that
in the
song
day.
slide. Dude, Black Eyed Peas ran the music industry for a while.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, gotta get that boom, boom, boom.
They got some bangers, dude.
Yeah. Gotta get that. That was Will.i.am.
Yeah,
who all was in
Fergie.
there? Yeah, Fergie was in there. That's crazy.
I don't remember the other two, but I know those guys.
Great question, Ratty.
That was a great question.
It'd be awesome.
I would love to. I mean, if anybody's making a movie or a game or whatever out there, hit us up.
Dude, for cheap, too.
Yeah. And the thing is, the one other point that I'll add to that, sorry to double back, but I would want to make sync licensing where I could make music that I enjoy making and that I see the movie and I'm really passionate about the movie or the game or whatever it is, and be like, I want to create music that I'm equally as passionate about, and I would be like proud to have in this game or this movie. I don't think I would want to just make like a bunch of like fucking Home Depot beats.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Yeah, that makes me think of that artist that I found that her brother produced music, and he dropped that one song with like epidemic sounds.
Kevin Daly.
Yeah. So he makes his own music and he posts it to Spotify, but it also goes on like that platform. Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Which it ties back into the thing somebody asked us about the record label. It'd be cool to have a record deal where you could put stuff onto like sites like Epidemic Sound, but also be able to like have the freedom to post it yourself too.
Yeah, because that would be sad if you spent so much time working on a song and it doesn't even get into the movie, but you don't have the rights to upload it yourself.
Yeah,
like the song would just be in a black hole. Yeah. And you're like, guys, I'll give you the money back. I just want to drop this song if you're not going to do anything with it.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be major suck. That's the thing with a lot of those like legal contracts and everything when you get into the whole music like industry side of things, is that you get screwed over without even realizing you're going to get screwed over.
Yeah, well, dude, I mean, Caleb, he's like working as hard as we are on the music stuff, but he's doing complete opposite direction, which is songwriting for people. And just like hearing about his experiences working with all those people, it's like it'd be fun to do that stuff and produce for people, but I'm glad that I don't have to deal with that. You know?
Big time.
Like people just being like, dude, this song's going to be in my new album. And then the album drops and Caleb's like, well, would have appreciated if you let me know if it wasn't going on there. But dude, that's the thing. And you also think about like the artists that are that big, how much like power's the wrong word, but just how much power like they have hold of all these struggling independent artists who are working 3 jobs, and they're just like DMing them being like, this song's sick, I'm definitely gonna put it on the album, and then the person's like, oh, this is my break, and then they just completely forget about that person.
Yeah, dude, well, think about that. Like, I think the majority of producers, if they got one Drake feature, like if they produce one
true.
Drake song, it would change their entire life. So it is power, for sure. Like these huge artists are incredibly powerful people, and people don't even realize that,
Yeah.
But that's funny. The thing with Caleb is that is exactly what I wanted to do when I first started.
Really?
Like I wanted to do, not with songwriting, but I wanted to do the whole like industry thing, like producing for people. And that exact experience is what made me very turned off by it, because there were so many times when I would think like, oh, I have a feature with this guy. This is going to be sick. And I remember that there was a couple people that I had like pretty big features with, like that younger one guy, which this doesn't matter because like 200 people are going to see this, but I have a song with him. I have a song with that younger one guy, and I think he has like over 1 million monthly or something. And I just remember it was such a weird thing because like his manager like reached out to me and was like, oh yeah, like I want to buy the beat, and then just didn't buy the beat. And so then it was a weird thing where he was like, yo, that song's going to be the album, but then it's like, oh, but he didn't buy it. So it's like,
yeah, that is weird.
That's all the industry stuff, like regardless of like what artist is involved or what management is involved, there's always just weird stuff like that, and it's so many hoops you have to jump through, and just kind of learning how to do everything yourself takes longer to get you to the point where you want to be, but it's also much more fulfilling once you get there.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to rely on somebody to be like, okay, man, I need guitar loops because I feel like I want to make a guitar beat right now, or like I need like some drums because whatever. You can just do it, and like you don't have anyone you have to answer to,
And just being able to work with whoever you want to work with. Like I feel like that's going to be super fun, like in the future for us, is just working with artists.
Yeah.
And being able to be like, hey, come to the studio, let's work on this song, and having the power to, we finish it and all three of us are just like, let's drop this. And then not having to hit up managers and hit up, A&Rs and be like, is this okay if we drop this?
Exactly.
Is it okay if I spend time working with this guy? It's just, hey, I like your music, come through and let's make a song and see what happens.
See, that's the thing. I always, even when I was making like rap music still, I always loved working with the people who I could just send them a pack of beats, and then they would just go to the studio and send me back like 3 or 4 songs, and probably one of them is going to get dropped within like a couple weeks or like the month, because like those are the guys that it's like, okay, this is like a surefire thing, where I know I can send this guy stuff and there's going to be a return on it. Whereas, I mean, I probably made so many beats over the years, honestly, probably more than like 1,000 beats that just never got used for anything that could have been used for like a bunch of really cool stuff, which if my hard drive didn't break, it would be cool to just go back and like send all those out to just like big artists and just spam them and like see if like any of them get placed. Yeah. Because that'd be pretty nuts, just going back and like taking tracks from like 4 years ago, and because a lot of them are probably still relevant now.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's also the thing with working with live instruments is, I mean, I was never, I can't even really talk to this, but this is just a thought that I had. Like with the music that you make now, like thinking of your August Rain beat, which I'm just going to say it on the podcast. I was meaning to tell you, but my oldest brother, Will, he was like, dude, tell Felix that August Rain was a really sick song.
Dude, that's sick.
I was like,
thank you.
I was like, yeah, man. I mean, that song is so cool. I just think super excited for what the Fizo channel on Spotify is going to be.
Yeah. Dude, somebody commented on that video, because that video has like 2,000 views, which it's still so like cool. 1 out of 10 of my last few. But somebody just commented and they were like, dude, you are in your bag right now.
That's so cool. Yeah.
I was like, that makes you feel good.
Yeah. I also think it's really cool that you have a sound now, you know?
Yeah.
Like you have a sound.
I kind of got like, my brain is, like detached from that, but low key, like if I put on like something I made, I immediately would be like, oh yeah, I made it.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, I was saying though, like if you made a beat right now in your style, that would be recording drums, tracking all of that, recording guitars, doing all this stuff. And then I feel like you'd have a finished product and you'd be like, I don't want to just send this to somebody and like make a pack and send it to 12 artists and then just wait. Like I've spent a lot of time and I feel like this is more of an artistic piece than just a beat. And I feel like there is a little bit of difference between that.
You know what's funny about that? There was a while where like, so for a long time, I just made kind of just like trap beats pretty much. And then I would experiment, obviously, and do like other little stuff. I'd do like some house stuff and whatever. But then there was a while where I was making music that I would show to like my mom or family and whatever. And they'd be like, you should put this on Spotify as it is. This is an instrumental, like you're making like actual songs.
Yeah.
And so eventually I got to the point where instead of just making like beats for people to rap over, I was just making full on like compositions basically. And so at that point you're like, okay, well I just spent so much time on this. I don't want to like have to, like you said, go through the whole process of like waiting for somebody to use it, and like if somebody even does use it. And then also the thing is that's weird too is like if you send out the same beat to multiple people, sometimes people get mad, you know? Like one rapper like actually uses the beat and the other guy had no intention of using it, but he's like, dude, you already sent this to me. What the heck, man? It's like, dude, I have to like send these to like other people too.
Yeah.
I have to like eat food.
And you never responded to me.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't your beat.
Yeah. Or you like, I'm in full contact with them, but they just didn't use it. And it's like, well, maybe 7 months from now I was going to use that. But yeah, I mean, when you get to the point where you're just like so passionate about the music that you're making and the stuff that you're doing, you don't really want other people's hands on it, you know? And I think that's also what's so cool about being able to like choose specifically who you collaborate with, and like with the stuff that we do, collaborate with in such close like proximity, and like really like dive in and work on something like actually collaboratively instead of like, here's a beat, just record it in your studio, send it back, whatever. Like, you just are so much more passionate about it, and you actually really, really care about the specific piece of music that you're making, which I think I like that much better.
Yeah, I mean, also, I don't know if we'll put this in the podcast, but we are planning on opening up SoundLodge Studios.
Yeah.
And this is like kind of right in that exact lane, is we do want to work with artists and just start kind of acting more as executive producers, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, Park Rangers is it has become such a big project of mine now. So I think Park Rangers, obviously, we're going to be spending a lot of time on that. But I think it'd also be cool to work on a song and, you know, get autistic with it and not have it be my vocals.
Yeah.
Like I would like that, because I feel like that's mostly what holds me back time-wise with finishing songs. I mean, that's what's happening with Safe and Sound, which I think the new recording I like it, so I'm excited to show you that. But
yeah, I'm hyped for that.
That is like, it is weird when you're working on a song and it's your vocals that you're listening to, you know? But every time I mix for people, it's always a much easier process of turning into the song, because even if the vocalist isn't that good, I think it sounds better.
Right.
So I just like mix the vocals and then I move on.
Because you can look at it objectively.
Exactly.
Instead of being like, oh, I hate my voice.
Yeah,
it sounds bad.
totally.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think for me, I started out kind of doing mixing for people pretty early on, and I ended up mixing a lot of tracks that I just didn't like at all. Like I was just not passionate about. So really quickly for me, I kind of formed this idea of like, okay, I don't want to mix for anybody or like do any sort of work for anybody unless I have had a part in the song, which is maybe selfish, but that's just like how I feel, because I'm not going to be passionate about it, and I'm not going to be as like gung-ho to like really work on something unless I like am involved with it too, you know? And because that initial like passion and that like spark for like, this is a cool project, I really want to be a part of this, is like so important, I feel like. But obviously like you can get that too without having to like have a part in the song, without like playing drums on it or recording guitar or whatever. But it's just much more likely that if you're participating in it, you're gonna like it, because there's a lot of music out there that's just not good, quite frankly, and a lot of music that you're just not gonna like, because everybody has their own tastes.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I think if we start doing like more executive producing and we have people come over to the studio, it would, like, obviously they wouldn't have to choose it, but I think it'd be really cool if they decided to like release a song under SoundLodge, not as SoundLodge on Spotify, but like as a record label. Yeah. And then we'd have a percentage of the royalties, and that would just make us, it'd be almost like our song as well. If we know that like this is like representing SoundLodge, instead of just, hey, you got this idea, let's just produce it and get on with the day.
Yeah. Well, that's like the whole Leon Michaels thing. He has his record label and everything, and all the songs that get released from there all have a cohesive sound to them, which I think is really cool. I think that's a cool thing about being a producer who's not just like a beat maker. Yeah. Because I think that is a big distinction that a lot of people don't realize, is that there's a big difference between a composer, a beat maker, a songwriter, a actual producer, engineer, all that stuff. Like all those words that we kind of use interchangeably like producer, beat maker, whatever, they are different things for sure. Because if you're just a beat maker, that means something very different to me in my head than somebody who's a producer. But like the producers who people go to them and make a whole album or make a specific song and it has a certain type of sound to it, like that's what the artist is looking for. Those guys are always the coolest to me because it's like you can. That's what I've always loved about Kenny Beats' music as well. It's like you hear a Kenny Beats beat and you're like, oh, that's a Kenny Beats, And I feel like with a lot of other producers, it's the same way. And that's, for me at least, a really admirable thing for producers.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I definitely resonate more with the producer over beat maker, but both are very, inspiring in their own right because beat makers, they drop a lot of music.
Yeah.
And seeing them in the studio, that's not a producer. Yeah. That's a beat maker. Like seeing them go through FL that's a whole different sight to see.
Yeah.
You know?
Which actually I'm very glad that I had that experience of being like just a straight up beat maker as well, because I got so fluent with FL Studio. Like I remember I had Eric over one time because we did that little like cover album thing. And he was just like, I was just doing it subconsciously and I was like navigating through FL and like doing all the shortcuts, and he was like, dude, that's how you know you're good, when you're just like typing on the keyboard and shit's happening on the screen. And I was like, I don't even think about it because it's just like second nature for me. But that has always been something that I've been very good at, is the hotkeys. I've gotten a lot of comments of people who are like, dude, do a video on hotkeys, because there's like stuff that I know that like is not really common knowledge, but it's really helpful for me.
Yeah, dude, when I dropped that new tutorial on the new channel, one of the...
I watched part of that, by the way. It was really good.
Thank you. One of the subscribers was like, it was a beginner beat tutorial, so it was Jack, and he's been making music for a while, but he said, the one thing I learned from this video is assigning all clips to a color, which is like something you can do in Ableton, but that's the thing. It's like you work so long in a DAW that you don't even know all of the things that you've just slowly accumulated, and then you're just making a beat and people are like, whoa, okay, slow down, and you're like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. I thought about that for a while actually, which one of the reasons I was really glad that I made a lot of those early tutorials as soon as I did was because I was such a beginner, and coming from such a beginner's perspective, that I don't think I could make the same video now, because I can't. It's been so long since I've been in the shoes of a total beginner, where like there's just basic fundamental musical concepts now that I just internalized, and I can't even imagine thinking any different, like it boggles my mind thinking about that, like, oh, there's people who don't even know like what a major chord is, there's people who don't even know how notes work together, like what even a scale is. And there was a time when I didn't know that kind of stuff either. Like I had like a basic understanding, but you get the idea. Like I didn't know like where I should put a snare, where I should put like hi-hats, like what do I even do with them. And so I was such a beginner that I was coming from a perspective that was relatable to people.
Yeah, that's what makes you realize, okay, there are rules to music. Because a lot of times you tell people, like, hey, there's no rules.
There's no rules.
Just do whatever you want. And then you meet those people and you're like, okay, we got to set a few rules.
There's a few rules.
There's a few things we need to get done. But yeah, those comments are always pretty funny whenever you make a tutorial. And they're like, whoa, can you show us how you did 3 notes in that thing? And it's like, what is a chord? And it's like, I'm glad you're trying to learn, but you should definitely go to another video and then come into the like, here's how you do it within the DAW.
Yeah, there's so many things like that you just do like subconsciously. Yeah. One thing that a lot of people have been commenting on my videos about recently is I'll have these clips where I'll like play something and they're like, Fizo will play just like the most majestic guitar melody ever and then be like, that's all right. But I do that a lot where I'll play something, like I'll do like a whole guitar solo or whatever, and I'm like, whatever, it'll have to do. I'll take it. Yeah. But I mean, it's the kind of thing where like you are never satisfied,
Yeah, totally.
Like, because if I was playing the stuff that I was playing, that I can play now when I was like 15, I would be very happy then.
Totally.
But it's kind of like you're just never going to be happy because the bar is always rising.
Totally. Yeah, and there's just absolute wizards out there.
Yeah.
That you're like, I'm nowhere near that, so I'm a failure.
Yeah, well, when like John Frusciante exists out there, I'm like, all right, well, better keep practicing.
Ratty, thank you for that question. That was a good question. The answer is yes. So if anybody's making a movie, I think that would be the coolest thing ever. just
Yeah.
spending a month making an album for a movie.
Yeah, that was the question. Would we do sync licensing? Yeah, we would.
Yeah. All right, next question is from Zombie X Leader, and they say, who are some other YouTubers you'd like to collab with? That's a great question. I'm on YouTube a lot, so I'm probably going to answer this and be like, oh, I should have said that. YouTuber.
Yeah. What's your answer? I have to give it a little bit of thought.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I think instantly doing a video with Andrew Huang.
Yeah, and Rob Scallon.
Yeah, and Rob.
Yeah.
Because I think both of us are very inspired by them.
Definitely.
I think whenever I think of music-related content, I think there is the, like, piano chord peoples.
The peoples.
Yeah, those peoples out there.
There's the piano chord peoples.
No, but there's, like, people teaching you how to play instruments.
Right.
And I'm thinking of, like, all of those guitar YouTubers and piano YouTubers and stuff. And then I think of, you know, like Simon Servita and people like those, like Kyle Beats, who are doing... Kyle Beats is kind of now evolved over the music production thing, which I think is really cool.
He's branching out, yeah.
I think his videos have been really cool recently. But I think of those, you know, music tutorial people.
Yeah. There's so many niches with music. When you think about it.
But when I think of Andrew and Rob, I'm like, those are videos I want to make in the future.
Right. They're kind of in our niche, I guess you would say.
Yeah, and I think they're a lot more... They make filmmaking a lot more proud with their videos, because I'm thinking of all the Rob videos when he has like some person bring in a wild instrument, and it's like it feels like a documentary. And I think both of us share a love for filmmaking, and I don't want to be making like, here's how you make a bedroom pop beat in Ableton forever.
Right, that's the thing. Like I enjoy teaching a lot, and I want to make tutorials for as long as I can, like teaching people and everything, but I also do want to make more just artsy kind of videos in general. But yeah, I think that definitely Andrew and Rob, for sure. Those are like the first ones that come to mind. But the thing is, I would also love to collab with just a lot of other non-music channels in general too. Like I would love to do some collabs with like a lot of the more just like filmmaking videos, filmmaking like people. Like I would love to do a video with Logan Bowden and his wife.
Yeah,
that would be sick, man.
That would be so cool.
Making like a song with Logan Bowden for a video of hers. That'd be awesome.
Crashing at their crib, inviting ourselves over.
Yeah, we show up at their house. Hey guys,
we make YouTube videos too.
Logan, you responded to my DM that one time.
I found your address. Hope that's cool. Hope that's chill.
Hope you're fine with that.
I've also been live streaming. Yeah. So
I live stream the route here. Yeah, I mean that would be sick. But also, even just I am just a YouTube fan in general. Growing up as like a kid in the YouTube era, I would love to do a video with like Casey Neistat and people like that.
That'd be the coolest thing ever, dude. Casey Neistat's probably my biggest YouTube inspiration.
Same. That was honestly probably the reason that sparked my interest for videos in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I lack inspiration, I just watch one of his videos.
Yeah.
It is going back to his like daily vlogs and watching those videos and being like, he dropped these every day and they are as good as they were.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
So inspiring. But then you do have to take a step back and be like, he said that this ruined his whole family and his life. So it's like, maybe I shouldn't go for this, because if I do, I will do that.
Yeah.
But
he was actually completely miserable when he was doing this. But a lot of videos.
It is cool weird, the relationship between art and like suffering.
Yeah. It's almost necessary, you know?
Yeah, and that makes me think of when we tried to make that happy song. Most of the comments on that are saying...
Funny how it still sounds sad.
Exactly. It's like... Because when I made the song, for me, I was like, this is a really happy song.
That's what I thought, too.
And then everybody's like, this song is depressing, dude.
Yeah, it's like, bro, what do you want from us? What can we possibly write about?
Yeah, they want like a dun dun, I am happy. And we're trying to make some good music over here.
Yeah, the song was literally like, I'm walking through a field and we're playing guitar. like, dude, this is still really sad.
Yeah. This is making me cry right now.
Yeah, it's like, bro, how much happier can we get?
Yeah.
There's a newborn baby and the baby's really happy. And the baby's playing guitar and being happy. I would also, like, thinking about other guys that are in our kind of zone, I would like to do a video with that Audio Haze guy. He's got some cool videos.
Yeah.
There's also, oh man, I forget his name, but there's this guy who tests out. He lives in Nashville, and he tests out all these like guitar myths, and he'll do like what actually affects the tone on your guitar, and then he'll actually go and test it. And there was one where he did like what affects the tone on an amp, and he remade like a Marshall amp and like a Fender amp out of like a fishing tackle box. And his videos are just awesome, like scientific, like super autistic videos. I would love to collab with him because that would be so cool. Just doing like whatever, like kind of science-based music stuff, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, that'd be sick. No, I definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
agree.
If I had more time to come up with a better list, I could give a pretty comprehensive list of people who I'd love to do some videos with.
Yeah, I think another group that I would want to collaborate with are some of those people that are like as young as us that make like the indie coming of age films, like Valspire Family, Natalie, I forget her name.
Yeah,
and then
Life of Rizza.
Yeah, Life of Rizza and her boyfriend, I think something Colt or something.
Yeah, I forget.
But
Colt Kerwin.
Yeah, they make really just awesome videos, and I think like
sick videos.
That's something that I'm also very passionate about. Is you know, filming and
another one that I was gonna say. I mean, obviously this is a reach, but Kenny Beats and Eris, his photographer, videographer, I would love to do a video with them because I
would love to be on the cave.
Yeah, it would be so sick, dude. Sick. Imagine Park Ranger's cave episode. I think he's stopping the cave though.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's tragic.
Sad. I bet they'll have something new though. To be honest, they're always working on something cool.
Yeah, he's been kind of MIA recently.
I don't know if he streamed really at all, dude. When he was streaming, that was huge.
Yeah,
and I actually. Part of the Kenny Beats streams was the reason that I got big into drumming too.
Really?
I watched Kenny Beats' whole drum breakdown video where he talked about his drum recording setup, and he was kind of a beginner at the same time that I was a beginner, or I was wanting to get into drums and everything. So him being like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm just putting mics on stuff and like experimenting was like, whoa, that's cool.
Yeah,
and that was part of what made me kind of just want to like throw some mics on a drum set and record it. But yeah, I just love drums.
Yeah, Kenny, if hop in the comments and let us know what you've been up to.
Yeah, we know Kenny Beats is probably watching this. So.
Also, Casey's probably watching this as well.
Yeah, all these guys. If you guys want to make a video, whatever, it's cool.
We know that we can make the collabs, but we haven't hit y'all up yet.
Yeah, now, we're just really busy and stuff.
Yeah, we're so busy.
We're busy with like more important shit.
Yeah, great question, Zombie. Hopefully that answers it.
Yeah.
Next question is from Svet from the Discord, and they say, if you could be one animal, what would you be and why?
That's a tough question.
This is what we're here for.
Yeah, this is the real stuff.
This is journalism.
This is the content. What would you say? Do you have an answer prepared?
First thing that came to mind would be some kind of bird, because I think this is the chance to fly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think some kind of, like being like a bald eagle or a falcon of some kind would be super cool.
I think maybe an owl. I would want to be an owl.
Owl would be sick.
Because that's like the Batman of birds. You know,
I'd want to fly at the daytime though.
I would want to fly at night.
Flying at night would be cool.
And flying silently.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about that one time where I was sitting on a park bench and an owl like swooped right over my shoulder?
No.
Yeah, I was having a little night walk as I do, and I went and I like sat down on this bench at this park, and I saw out of the corner of my eye something come down. It was almost completely silent, swooped down past my head, and it was big. It was a big owl, and I just saw the silhouette of it land out in like the field a little bit ahead of me, and definitely like swooped down on a little mouse or something.
Yeah.
But that was just nuts because I remember seeing it out of the corner of my eye, and then I looked and I just see it like gliding down. It was crazy.
Yeah,
and it was almost silent.
Are the coolest. I remember watching a video that like broke down the science but behind why they're so silent, and it like showed different birds like flapping, and then the owl was just like,
yeah, it's so cool. I think we watched that in science class in like 8th grade
really?
Or something. Yeah, because I remember watching that, probably the same video, where they were set up like microphones and like recorded it and showed it in slow motion. Yeah.
What would your answer be, animal?
Honestly, now that you got me thinking about it, I really think owl would be.
All right, let's eliminate birds.
All right, eliminate birds.
We can't
fly. Some sort of big like cat of prey or whatever.
Yeah, being like a leopard.
Yeah. Or like a jaguar, like a black panther. Which, you know what I found out? A black panther is just a panther, that has like a pigmentation
Oh,
thing
really?
with its coat. It's basically just they're exactly the same as other panthers, but they just
Yeah.
have some sort of like basically deformation. Or
Being a snow leopard would be sick.
Mhm.
Like going through the mountains.
Being a fox would be cool too.
Yeah.
Did I ever show you that video of the fox coming up to me and like sniffing my foot?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like one of the coolest moments of my life.
Yeah.
When I like actually just befriended like a family of
Yeah,
foxes.
that is so cool. Yeah, I remember there's a video of a fox walking up to this dude playing the banjo, and it just sits down.
That's sick. I've
This
seen that
is
video too.
We won't get into human consciousness and if we're the only conscious beings
Yeah.
on this planet.
We've already debated that for
yeah.
like 3 hours off the
But
podcast.
the video of that fox makes me think like,
yeah.
this dude seems like he's just chilling.
Yeah.
This doesn't have anything to do with survival.
Yeah, exactly. Same with like the little dolphin video you sent to, where the dolphins are like playing
Yeah.
along to like the Middle Eastern music. That was just sick.
Yeah.
So cool.
I also remember this video of somebody dropped their phone in the ocean, and I think it was a whale of some sort. It grabbed their phone and it brought it back up to the surface.
Dude, there's so
Coolest
many
thing
cool
ever.
things. I've seen a ton of videos with whales and stuff.
Yeah.
Whales are really smart.
Yeah.
They do a lot of like just really cool stuff that you're like, whoa, holy shit. That's,
Yeah.
There's something going on there.
Uh-huh. Yeah, let's not get into that.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take this time to shout out the one and only Goatse.
Yeah. Shout out to
So we
Goatse.
now have a new channel on the Discord where you post your pictures of your merch.
Your
And
merchandise.
Goatse got the Sound Lodge hat, which
Here it is.
sadly, yes, this is the picture.
Pictures right here.
Absolutely fitted right now. Yeah, no, that hat is very
Out of
cool.
stock.
yes, yes.
Very cool and out of
Very
stock.
cool and out of stock.
It's very cool and you can't get it.
No, I think that we do need to talk about that. The comedic timing
It's unreal.
of there were so many moving parts of getting the merch ready, and finally we just had everything ready to go.
Yeah.
The commercial that we made for the merch, coolest commercial ever.
Yeah, it's
so close to being like it was basically done. We were ready to drop it, and then we just learned that not only the one hat that we chose to make for the Sound Lodge hat, but also the one color. All
one
of the other
specific
colors.
color. We chose one color. We were like, brown would be really cool.
And I think, yeah, brown is the coolest color that there was, but
Yeah.
I guess everybody else agrees with us.
Yeah, everybody else really likes the brown hat, apparently. But no, the thing is, I think the black one is cool too, and we absolutely could put out a black one as well. But the thing is, we were like, okay, well, we don't just want to release it with only the black one because, for one, none of the not advertisements, but like things that we've done hyping up the hat are showing a black hat. We didn't film any pictures. We don't even have a black hat. So the thing is, we didn't want to just put it out like that. We want to put it out the way that we advertised it to
Yeah.
be, you know?
And if
But
we
yeah, it
ordered
was-
the black hat to rep and we like, okay, let's change the game plan. We're going with the black hat now. By the time it gets here, we do the pictures and everything. The brown hat will probably be
yeah.
back in stock.
Exactly.
Or the black hat will most likely go out of stock once
Yeah.
we're ready to drop it.
Exactly.
So
No, I think, well, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, having a black one and a brown one would be cool.
Mhm.
And I bet we could do that like in time or whatever. But I think, yeah, it was just the worst possible time.
Yeah.
The principal was like, hey guys, just want to let you know we don't have this anymore and we have no idea when it's going to be back. So have fun.
Yeah, that was funny. Very, very comedic. Right
Yeah, it
there.
was really funny. Super funny, and I'm laughing. Haha, it's
Yeah,
funny.
very funny, especially because I was like betting all of my cards financially on dropping the merch.
Yeah, we bet the crib on this, and principal's like, "Hey guys, sorry, you can't do that."
I was like, I probably don't have to get a job because we're dropping merch.
Yeah.
I'll be able to pay rent this month, right?
Right, guys?
No,
No, whatever.
Whatever.
Life goes on.
life goes on. But for those,
We
for
will
the-
keep you updated, though.
Yes, for the 4 people who did get the merch, for the 4 people who did get the hat, thank you for getting the hat, and also
Yeah, big thank
I
you.
bet you feel pretty special right now.
Yeah, because it's a limited edition
Yeah.
now.
The,
Not by
hat,
choice,
The
but
brown
it
hat
is.
will never be back in stock.
Yeah, that.
So-
I don't even want to will that into existence.
Yeah, true.
Gosh, that would be horrible.
Shouts out Goto though, you're looking fresh.
Yeah. If anybody out there was interested in any of the other merch, all that other merch is available. The hat is not available; it's out of stock. But everything else is available. So
Everything else is ready to go. It's just
Yeah.
we have to have everything in order to officially launch it.
yeah,
So silently, if you want to buy the other ones.
yeah. Soundlodge.net. Go ahead and check it out.
Also, discount code the Lodge.
Yeah,
And you get
discount code
10%
The Lodge.
off your order, or 20%. I think it's 20.
One of those two.
One of those.
It's better than zero.
Editor Zol will figure that one out. I don't even think the code is the Lodge.
I think it is.
Okay.
Or maybe it's. Never.
No, that'd
I
be
have
stupid
no
if we
clue.
didn't make it the name of the podcast.
Yeah. Use the discount code 014374.
All right. Next question is from Normie, and they say, "What album or song has influenced you in your music the most?" We shouldn't have done this question because this is like a really sit down and figure this out. If I'm going to choose one album and a song, but let's go off the dome.
If you guys are watching this podcast right now and you see another 45 minutes left of the episode, you know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot that could go into like album that has influenced you the most, but I think I have one. I think I have maybe like a couple, but that's
Let me
a hard
guess.
thing.
Radiohead's in there.
See, the thing is, there's so many like. So I have 2 different lists in my head of albums that have really influenced me and like actually changed the way I make music a lot, and albums that I think are like the best albums ever.
Yeah.
Because there's albums that I think are incredible and I think are absolutely some of the best albums ever created, but haven't really directly influenced my music that much. Like I think one big one is Van Morrison, Astral Weeks. I think is just actually one of the best albums ever created. But I wouldn't say that it's influenced my music very directly at all.
Yeah, that's a great point. You love Van Morrison. I mean, I do too, but your style isn't really like his, which is cool.
But that leads me to like one that I think is one of the best albums ever made and has influenced my style a bunch is Far Caspian's I don't even know the name. I'm blanking on the name. Ways to Get Out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that album I would say has influenced me the most, as well as like Men I Trust's Oncle Jazz and those kind of albums and stuff like This Old Dog, Mac DeMarco. Like those are obviously pretty basic answers. And if we're like the greatest albums ever created, people are like, dude, come on, you can't say they're the best albums ever created.
Yeah.
But it's like also I think people have that thing where they're like, well, unless the album was created 30 years ago, you can't say it's the best album ever created. And it's
yeah,
like,
that
dude,
is true.
I mean, if it's objectively a great album with absolutely no skips on it, I think it's up there for one of the best.
Yeah, and
albums
that's just such a subjective list. Like,
yeah, exactly.
To be like, this isn't the greatest album ever.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so your idea of the greatest album is the greatest album?
Yeah, exactly.
I think you could make a separate list, which is like, you look at the stats and you look at objectively what everybody thinks. But I think when I think of greatest album, I think of a more personal thing where it's like, this is the best piece of art all compiled into one album that I think is out there music-wise.
Yeah, exactly. I think the way that I gauge like albums is obviously because there's people who have different parameters for it, and they're like, well, it's got to tell a good story, and it's got to be like cohesive together and whatever. Honestly, some of the greatest albums of all time for me could be something that is one cohesive story, or it could be something that is just a bunch of songs, but they're all really good songs.
Yeah, it could be dudes pulling things out of hats and making songs about it.
Exactly. Like, I think a really good example, of course, it's a really basic answer, but Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon is one of the best albums ever. And that is like it's like one song, you know? It's like a 45-minute long song.
Yeah.
Because they all just flow into each other, which is the coolest thing ever. But I don't think an album needs to be like that to be considered one of the best ever. Another one that I would say is on 2 different lists for me is, I think Beatopia, Baby Doobie's album is like one of the best albums like ever. It's so good. All the songs are no skips. Except for the one with Pink Pantheress.
Yeah,
that's the singular exception.
I think that's hilarious that both of us think the same way.
Yeah,
it's like every single song is perfect except for that one. I'm like, let's go to the next track.
Yeah, it would genuinely be a perfect album other than that. But I also would not say that album really heavily inspired my like sound or anything. You know, because the thing is, I listened to that album for the first time when I wasn't really making that much music at all. So I think it didn't really get a chance to like seep into my music making. Like, of course, there's things like in there, like some of the guitar stuff and the like some of her more rock-esque stuff. But I wouldn't say that they like directly inspired me because it's just kind of just any rock song. You could be like, yeah, I got the inspiration from there. But yeah, also Radiohead, like OK Computer is one of the best albums ever. I think just all of Radiohead's discography is incredible. Yeah, the Benz is incredible too. There's just so much music out there, man. That's so good.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, I think I just listened to too much music to answer that question. Because my influence isn't really dripping from one source. It's like just little pieces from so much music because I am constantly listening to music. But funny enough, when I thought of that answer, I looked up there, and those are like
Those ones.
yeah. So I painted those like in high school, so it's pretty cool to look at those and be like, these were my biggest inspirations in high school. So I wouldn't say those are them, but I think Viva La Vida, Coldplay.
Yeah.
If we're going back, that's definitely up there. That also inspired my sound because it made me not just listen to rap music, but Kid Cudi and J. Cole and Kanye are also up there.
Yeah,
But-
Aries, that's a really good one too.
Yeah, so Aries, I would say I think that's Welcome Home. That was that album. That would be a good answer for inspired me pretty deeply because not only sonically, but also just as an artist, like seeing him on YouTube and then
Right.
turn into a full-time artist. And I'm just very inspired by Aries and his story, and it gives me a lot of hope. I mean, there's his flag right there, I think it's a really cool path, and it's an inspiration for anybody making music and also on YouTube and being like, I can turn this into something. And he's just so talented.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he's an incredibly talented musician.
Freudian, Daniel Caesar.
That's a great
That's up.
album.
But I think one of my favorite albums is Blonde by Frank Ocean, which I know you disagree. You don't think that album is very good, but
Yeah.
I think that
Maybe cut that out because I'm gonna get crucified for not being a Frank Ocean fan.
yeah. No, I think it's a good take. I think there's too many people that are just like, this is the best. There was a top 100 albums, and I'm like, I think subjectively I agree, but objectively there are so many people who don't think that album's good.
Yeah. See, the thing is, if I had to name 100 albums, I'm sure it'd be somewhere in there. You know, like I don't think I could name probably even 50 albums off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty big list. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not the biggest fan of. Well, I haven't really listened to Blonde extensively. I'll say I listened to Channel Orange. That's the one I
Dude.
listen to more.
See,
There's
Channel
some
Orange
whack songs in there, like
Channel
full
Orange-
on whack songs.
I have like maybe 3. I'm probably getting crucified now.
Yeah.
I have like maybe 4 songs added from that album. I'm not the biggest fan of Channel Orange. Blonde is a completely different album sonically, vibe wise, and so his album got me into like I first started producing more like dance and kind of upbeat music,
Right.
And then I listened to that album and I turned into this emo kid,
yeah.
But music wise, I started making a lot of slowed and reverbed songs. So and that really got me into remixing different songs and grabbing acapellas and doing mashups and doing like slowed and reverb stuff. So that definitely, talking earlier about how we can't make a happy song, like he definitely inspired my sound because
Thanks, Frank Ocean.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have happy thoughts now, so that's great. But that's also why a lot of my songs are very like, melancholic.
It's actually funny that you say that now that I'm thinking about it, because so one of the videos that I actually was planning on doing was albums that have changed the way I make music. And I was going to go through basically throughout like when I started making music until now, albums that have really been like pivotal for changing this thing I do in music or that thing I do. And my kind of Frank Ocean experience, funny enough, was Juice WRLD's Goodbye and Good Riddance. I still think that album is incredible.
Dude,
that's incredible.
That's on
album.
a top 50 list for me, for sure.
100%. That is just such a great album, and Nick Mira is actually unreal for that. But all those songs are incredible. I think there's maybe one song I don't have saved on there, but not even because I don't like it. I think it's one of the songs that had been released like previously, and I was like, I just don't need to listen to it. But
dude, that makes me think, like, not to make this sad, but if he didn't pass away, I would, like, my music taste would be a lot different because I was a huge Juice WRLD fan.
Yeah, same.
And I think after he died, I started listening to different music, but yeah, that was like my sound. I'm thinking of like that 2016 freshman list with like Ski Mask and all those.
Yeah,
like I listened to all those artists.
Same, yeah.
And like Cole Bennett having a touch and all of that too.
I think that was a pretty unanimous like high school like 2016 XXL freshman list thing. Like I think everybody had that kind of similar experience.
Yeah.
But of course, like we'll say that, and that's not like an uncommon thing. Like other people Juice World was huge. He was a massive
Oh
artist.
no, for sure.
And so it's like a thing that like you say and people are like, oh, this guy, this music YouTube channel guy is saying he likes Juice World. What the hell? But like the thing is, he made great songs, and even some of the newer stuff was really good too. Like I thought Robbery was a really good song, and like all those really like overhyped like popular songs they're actually good.
Dude, somebody who even inspired me more, which was also in that vibe, was X.
I agree.
And like his Question Mark album, he was
incredible.
He was an innovator.
Like I agree. He was actually, I would say, my number one inspiration for sure making music.
Totally.
Number one, like without a doubt. I was such a big fan of his.
Depression and Obsession. That was one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, same.
I mean, it still is. I just
super underrated.
I can't listen to his music now because it just makes me so sad.
Yeah.
For some reason, like I love Phoebe Bridgers. I listen to her music all the time. Doesn't make me that sad. But X is like one of the 4 artists that I listen to, and I actually get really sad when I listen to it.
No, I agree. I think also like his death like actually affected me like pretty deeply too, because I was so inspired by him. Like finding out about that, I was like, dude, like there's no fucking way this can be real.
That also makes me think of Mac Miller, because Mac Miller hit me like a truck as well. And funny enough, like I'll admit I wasn't an OG Mac Miller fan, like Caleb was, and Caleb listened to him when he made like Donald Trump and stuff, when he made Frat Rap.
Yeah.
But I found him right before he dropped Circles. So like Divine Feminine, I listened to that and I was like, this is a cool album. Listened to his older music, wasn't that into it. And then Circles dropped, and that's an album that's probably top 5 albums of all time for me, and totally a inspiration sonically. That album is just beautiful. And that's also an album that makes me cry when I listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few like that. I haven't really delved that deep into Mac Miller, but I definitely should, because he's got a lot of good stuff. But a lot of the stuff that I had heard when I first went and like tried to listen to his music was like, I was like, I don't know, I'm just not feeling this. Like I don't like the way his voice sounds on some of these songs, and like some of his earlier music, I was like, this is just, I'm not crazy about this.
Yeah,
and so
you
then
need
I
to
just
listen.
didn't think about
you
it.
need to listen to Circles front to back. You need to listen to that album, because sonically, I mean, it's just a beautiful. I forgot the producer's name. John.
He's that guy.
John Breon.
Yeah.
He made Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which that takes it back to sync placements. It's like there's some really talented producers out there who've made really great albums who also do movies, which is
very
sick,
true.
But
like Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead, he did I can't think of the name of the soundtrack that he did.
Toy Story.
Toy Story. I have to look it up, because it's a movie that you would
Dude, ironically enough, Toy Story bangs. That's Randy Newman. Randy Newman, legend.
Yeah. Oh, There Will Be Blood. He did the
What?
He did the soundtrack for There Will Be Blood.
That's one of my favorite movies.
I haven't even seen it, but I know he did that.
Dude, it's
a big movie.
Crazy.
Yeah, Johnny Greenwood is incredibly talented as like a composer.
Yeah.
He's worked with like Hans Zimmer and stuff as well.
Really? That's sick.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of guys who have just kind of, because you think about from the perspective of Radiohead might just be his like weekend gig for a guy like that. You know, like maybe he's more passionate about like composition and like composing for movies and stuff. And like Radiohead's just kind of like whatever. I'm in Radiohead. Not a big deal.
One of the top bands of all time. This is just a little gig.
It's just a little side thing. Like, yeah, I'm in a band or whatever. It's just a pretty low key band.
Pretty low key. We do frats.
Yeah. We perform at frat parties. Radiohead performing at a frat party. Yeah, no, I don't even know what the thing that we sparked into that was.
Inspirations, albums.
Oh yeah, and talking about producers who have done movies and stuff.
Yeah, no, so if I'm going to condense the list now that we've been chatting, it would be Circles, Mac Miller. It would be the Question Mark album from X. It would be probably Blonde. And Viva La Vida, Coldplay.
Those are good answers.
That's my list.
I think for me, I'm going with Ways to Get Out for Caspian. I'm going with Goodbye and Good Riddance, Juice World. And I'm going to go with, is the album called Sparks? Or it's called Parachutes, right?
Yep.
Coldplay. That's a big one for me. I think the way that I write guitar is very inspired by a lot of those songs.
Yeah. A lot of open voicings and stuff.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a big one for me. And
That's a solid list.
yeah, I'm trying to think. There was another one I had in my brain.
I'm looking over there. There's Ways to Get Out
Yeah.
on my wall.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Gregory, yeah, dude. This is why this question is bad, because
it's very tough.
Now I'm looking at that side of the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Gregory Allen.
That's such a great album.
Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, that's an incredible album.
I think that's on the list, number 4, for sure.
It's so hard, man. When there's so many good music out there.
Yeah.
There's so much good music out there.
Music is the best, man.
Oh, man.
Let's all take a moment to appreciate how awesome music is.
If you love music, comment down below. I love music.
Well, now I'm looking at Phoebe Bridgers.
Yeah. That's a great album, too. I like that album better than, whatchamacallit. I like that better than Motion Sickness album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what is that album called? There's so many names out there.
But she's great. She's great, but I was listening, because, you're talking about we were doing the songwriting thing, and you're talking about, you don't need to be Phoebe Bridgers, and Garden Song came on, and I was like, dude, not one single line of this song rhymes. It's just straight up her talking.
Yeah, but
it's spoken word shit.
It is, it
sounds good, though.
It's an attestament, or whatever that word is, to how good of a songwriter she is.
Isn't that incredible that, we're so accustomed to listening to songs that rhyme, that she can make an entire song that doesn't rhyme at all, and it still sounds good. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
This is just a great story.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and then you hear people who I want to be like Phoebe, and I'm not going to rhyme this word.
Yeah.
And then they say bionucleic acid or something. And it's just like, where did that word come in? You can get back to the ABAB.
Yeah, and you don't have to use words that you would never ever use in your daily language.
That is so true. That is a great songwriting point.
Yeah. Only just use words that you actually use.
Yeah.
If
you want it to sound real, don't
make it fake.
It makes me think of that commercial or the trailer for that movie where she's like, he's so smitten. It's like instantly
you are not saying that, bro. Let's get real.
Laugh out loud.
He is so smitten. And the fact that they picked that one clip out of an hour and a half long movie, they're like, that's it. Yeah. That's going to summarize this whole movie. He's so smitten. Come on.
The writers were like, what's a word? Smitten.
Dude, there's a Biba Doobie song where she says smitten, and it makes me cringe when I hear it.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe that's just a horrible word in general. Maybe we just need to extricate or whatever word. I'm saying words that aren't real now, but we need to get that word out of the English language.
Yeah. Also,
smitten.
If we're talking about this, I gotta throw Phoebe under the brush. Under the brush.
Under the brush.
I gotta
throw her under the brush. That sounds like a saying.
No, I gotta throw her under the bus for her vegetable line.
Yeah.
I Will Never Be Your Vegetable. I forget what song that is.
Chinese Satellite.
Yeah, such a good song. Every time that comes in, it just takes me out of the experience.
Yeah. So, dude, you're talking about songs that make you cry. Well, I don't cry because I don't have a soul, but if I had one, the Chinese Satellite live acoustic version, that song is just if you ever are just depressed, need to be more depressed, you just put that thing on, and that's just an incredible song. I like that more than the original version by far. But yeah, where he's like, I will never be your vegetable. It's not that bad in the song though, but when you think about it, and you're like, okay, what are we saying?
Yeah, exactly. And that's also when she doesn't rhyme one of the words, and she chooses that to end the rhyme.
Yeah. There was also a line in Garden Song where I was like, you so easily could have rhymed this, and you just chose directly, specifically not to rhyme it. It's I get the whole artsy thing and whatever, but I would have rhymed it.
I don't know why she can do it, and I'm not mad about it. Because most artists, when they do that, I'm like, this is spoken word. Take the music out. You don't deserve to be behind music. Normie, that was a great question. That spawned a great conversation. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Normie's been sending, I think all of these, Savette, Normie, Zombie, and Ratty, quick shouts out to all of y'all, because y'all been keeping the podcast alive. We need more questions in that channel.
Yeah. Facts.
When I say flood the channel, I really want it to be we're about to start a podcast, and then whatever question inspires us, we hop in there.
Yeah.
But we only have 5 questions right now, so it makes it a little difficult. But y'all been really helping us out, so appreciate you. All right, let's wrap this bad boy up. So as y'all know, at the end of every podcast, we ask you a question.
We do that.
And we and then you answer the question, and you let us know your answer. And the best answer gets a shout out. And the last question was, are you still producing the same genre that you originally started with? And the reason that was a question because I started with some more dance music and now I make indie stuff. You started with more trap stuff, now you make indie stuff. And we were curious about what y'all do. And 3 people said they still make the same genre, but 4 people said they make a new vibe. And from the comments, it looked like that was also the consensus. A lot of y'all are switching up genres over time.
And we didn't put a poll on Spotify. So.
Yeah, so that was a failure. But Zombie X Leader says that they started with trap because it was easy. And then over time, they slowly started switching to indie pop. And they didn't even make like a conscious decision of like, I'm going to start trying to make indie pop. It was just a more gradual thing. And they've had a lot more fun making the indie pop.
I think I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
See, it's kind of a taboo thing to be like, making trap beats is easy. Let's be honest, it is. You know, like people are like, dude, you can't say that because like people they work really hard. And, like, yeah, no, they do for sure, and like they make a lot of money, probably a lot more money than we do making trap beats. But at the end of the day, it's a lot more work to record drums, record guitars, record bass, record all your own live instruments than like pull in a loop and put some trap drums on it. Let's just be real here.
Yeah.
We're not kidding anybody by saying that. So yeah, it's for sure like a kind of a weird taboo thing to be able to say that, but it's true. But it's a really good way to get into making music because it is easier, you know, and you can follow tutorials a lot more exactly and specifically than like if somebody's like, oh, dude, your drums sound really good. How do I get my drums to sound like that? And I'm like, well, you have 3 hours. Let me talk to you about microphones and mic placement. And let's talk about your room, treating your room and all that kind of stuff. What plugins are you going to put on here? Whereas with it's, you know, I can be like, dude, just go look up like trap drum sounds and like just pull them in, you know? So it's definitely an easier entry point. But I think naturally as just a producer, like somebody who's into making music, you will start there as an entry point, and then as you get further, you just naturally progress into being like, well, I want to record like some real instruments now. You know, I want to do some piano on this or play some drums or whatever. So I think it's kind of just the natural progression of making music, which is cool that like you're going through that. Where it's like you started off just all on the computer and then you're kind of branching out. Because I think everybody usually does go through that.
Yeah, I agree. Right there with you. That was my path as well, but with more house music, and then it got into remixes. I had a SoundCloud that was kind of popping with remixes.
Really?
Yeah, I would do mashups and remixes, and they would get like 10,000 plays on SoundCloud.
That's
it'd
sick,
be like
actually.
Post Malone with Camila Cabello mashup, and then it'd be
and people are like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. And then I remember I did a Take My Horse to the Old Town Road. I'd mash that up with some kind of rock song, and that one like kind of blew up. And then I remember I tried to monetize the channel, and I made like $4 off of it, and then it got flagged, and I got so nervous that I was going to get sued by the IRS that I was like, delete all the songs. So I didn't like private them. I just deleted all of those songs, and it's
panic delete.
Yeah, it was so sad. I was like in high school, so I was like, I mean, the CEO of Warner Music's gonna come to my house.
Yeah, he's gonna shoot me in the head.
I've made $4 off of these mashups.
Yeah.
So that's really sad. But then started making my own bedroom pop music that was all in the DAW, a lot of synth-based stuff, and then naturally that easily just morphed into more indie, straight up.
Yeah, that's sick. I think a lot of people can relate to that, which is cool. I think this is totally unrelated, but somewhat related. That Old Town Road song, I found that song, it's like so famous now, like platinum on platinum records. I found that song when it was only on SoundCloud, and it genuinely had less than like 100,000 plays.
Yeah,
because
that's a flex.
I heard it in a meme. It was in a meme where there was this guy, and he was just like standing on the back of a horse, and the horse was going like full speed, and that song was playing over it, and I was like, that meme's really funny, but that song is really good. And so I went through the comments and I was looking for like people saying what the song was, and somebody said it like, oh, it's by this guy like Lil Nas X, and I was like, what? This does not sound like it would be like somebody named Lil Nas X. But then I looked it up on SoundCloud and I found it, and it was like he had like 3 songs at the time.
Yeah.
And I think the song maybe had like 40,000 plays. And I sent to everybody and I was like, dude, this song is like really good actually. Like unironically, it's funny. Like it sounds like a country song, but it's like a rap song.
Yeah.
And it's really good. And then it just blew up. It was unreal.
Lil Nas needs to hit you up and be like, thanks for blowing up my song.
Yeah.
You showed it to your friends.
Yeah.
This is our question. It's a weird question. But if you could choose one BPM range, 10 BPM, so you have 10 BPM to work with, and you go in increments of 10. So starting at, let's say, 70. So 70 to 80 is one choice, 80 to 90, 90 to 100, and so on until like 200 BPM, because then we're just getting into halftime and stuff. What would be the BPM of your choice? And then give us a reason.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
I'm curious about that too. That's a good question.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching Sound Lodge episode 6.
Episode 6.
This was a lot of fun. See you next time.
Peace.